Alright, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you today in this kind of sort of sunny Duluth, Minnesota. I think we're sitting at about 35 degrees. It's warming up. We had a little bit of a snow blow over the Friday, Saturday, and a little bit on Sunday. It started getting real sunny yesterday, so it's gorgeous outside. Still a little brisk. Not too cold for Mr. Mean. So I hope all my meanies out there are doing good. Another video du jour. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Help grow the channel. We are at 477 subscribers. So thanks to all you guys for clicking that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell up there to be dinged when I donged, so you know when I've uploaded a new video or when I'm going live. YouTube has changed its creator studio thing, and I don't like it. It makes it very, in my opinion, makes it very difficult to go live and record. I don't know what they're doing, and I just haven't had the chance to play with it and figure out how it all works. I'm using OBS Studio. It is free software. Some of the plugins and things cost a little bit of money. I don't have any of those, but I know there are people out there making stuff for it that you can buy, which I haven't even looked into. I do want to start recording my game sessions. I'm currently running an Esper Genesis game, and Wednesday night this week I'm running a Simba Room one, possibly two-shot game with the Simba Room Fantasy Grounds plugin. So stay tuned for an after-action report for that. That'll probably come up the following Monday, because I record Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday right now. I might get a chance to post that sooner, but I'll plan on it being Monday's content. As always, like I said, like and subscribe helps out the channel. If you want to do a donation, most of you know I'm unemployed, so any kind of money I can bring in is helpful. I'm on ZellyPay. I don't do Patreon anymore. I've moved away from that pricing model. ZellyPay is great because it ties in with your banking institution. It is free for you and free for me. So if you decide to donate $10, I get $10. Nobody takes a cut of it, and it's almost instantaneous. It's really quick. So you can go to your mobile app on your smartphone, and you can most banks work with ZellyPay, or you can go to zellypay.com. And check it out, and you just send a donation to jpolack@gmail.com. That's jpolack@gmail.com. So with all that out of the way, today's video du jour, I did a video a couple weeks back on Palladium Fantasy RPG, and there was some confusion, and I want to kind of clear that up, and that's going to segue into today's video du jour. Some people had said, that I was ranting and bashing Palladium, and that I was saying don't buy it, but then I'm saying buy it. What I was saying, and let me clarify, is Palladium Fantasy, in my opinion, is a good game. It has stood the test of time. Its mechanics still work quite well. In fact, one of the viewers posted, because my big complaint with Palladium Fantasy was that you had to make all the NPCs. You had to roll their stats. And it never even dawned on me to just take the average of whatever the dice pool is they give you. So like 4d6, the average would be 14, right? I believe, or something like that, because 2d6 is 7, so if you just double it, it'd be 14, 15. There's your stat. Great idea. Thank you. I should have got your name. I apologize, but a big shout out to you. You know who you are. So that actually makes running Palladium Fantasy a little bit easier. I like Palladium Fantasy and Rifts, and the fact that the plethora of material that is out there is astronomical. There's a ton of books in the range. I dislike Palladium because of their business practices. And I don't want to get too heavy into it, but I've been following Palladium for 20 years, and as always, anytime you go on their website or you go on their forums, it's Kevin begging for money. They've been robbed. He's going through a divorce. Something, it's one tragedy after another, just over and over and over. And it's just mismanagement of company funds is the way I look at it. The whole Robotech Kickstarter was a nightmare. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back in the archives there and check my rants. I did a review about it. We talked about it a little bit on last Wednesday's rant with James Gantry over at Feral Games Inc., dealing with Kickstarters. We talked about that a little bit, and different Kickstarters. We picked on Monty Cook. We love Monty Cook. We love their games, but we're of the opinion you don't need to go to Kickstarter when you have a name that prolific in the industry. You just need to find some backers and do it the right way. Not saying that doing it the Kickstarter is the wrong way, but I don't think it's hurting the smaller game companies out there. Because let's face it, we all only have so much money, and Monty Cook doesn't need to go to Kickstarter. But that's neither here nor there. I have a love-hate relationship with Palladium Books. I love their game worlds. I love their concepts. I love the product when I get it. Their books to me are pretty good bang for the buck. It's not a ton of art in there, but it's they're well produced. I've never had a Palladium book fall apart on me in my 30 years of gaming. You can see there's a large selection of Palladium books right there, and none of those books has fallen apart, and I use them for reference all the time in different games that I'm running. But there was some confusion in the fantasy review that people were saying, that I was saying buy the book, add it to your collection, or whatever. Here's the thing. You don't have to buy it from Palladium. You can buy it, from Amazon. You can buy it from, Barnes and Nobles. You can go online and buy it. A lot of these people have these books sitting in their stock already. They're just sitting there collecting dust. You can buy them as PDFs now. Kevin has loosened up the reins and joined the modern age, and you can buy just about all of his books in PDF from Drive-Thru-RPG. I think it's funny that with the fiasco that was the Robotech Kickstarter, and a reason a lot of the RPG players don't know is the Robotech game was a miniatures game, and sometimes those two genres do not cross. And I'm amazed at the Palladium fanboys that were protecting Kevin and Palladium Books, but weren't aware of the fiasco that happened with Robotech. And this is straight up all Kevin's fault. I'm sorry. It's mismanagement of funds. It is what it is. It's a horrible thing, and I feel bad for all those thousands of Kickstarter backers who didn't get anything or got screwed or didn't get what they wanted. It's a shame. But that being said, I went on to Palladium Books website because I was looking at some stuff for fantasy when I was researching for the other video, and I saw that he's got a crowdfunding for the latest Palladium fantasy book. And I just thought it was funny and ironic that he didn't go to Kickstarter. There's no mention of Kickstarter whatsoever. This book is being crowdsourced on the Palladium Books website, which, hey, good for them. Good. I can tell you right now, if he'd have put that up as a Kickstarter, it would have been shot down. Nobody would back it. I mean, I'm sure the Palladium fanboys and fangirls would back it, and good for them. But I just thought it was funny that he chose not to even mention Kickstarter, because right now, until the hurt settles, his name is mud in the Kickstarter community, and that's really sad because they're good games. It's just it's poor management. That's the only way to say it. And he's pretty much, management is him. He owns creative rights. He says everything. That being said, I wanted to clear that up about Palladium Fantasy. I do think it's a good game. I do think if you've never played it, you should at least go to a convention and you should try it. And if you can play it, great. If you enjoy it, buy the book. Kevin is one man behind the company. He pretty much is the company. He does have people working for him. And if you don't want to support him like me, that's fine. You don't have to. I'm not saying don't support him. I'm not saying to support him. I'm saying vote with your dollars. And if you like the game, buy it. If you're a Palladium fanboy or fangirl, awesome. Good for you. Obviously, I am too, because I have I have over 30 books in my collection from between Palladium Riffs and fantasy. So obviously, I've been a fan. I've done freelance GMing for Palladium in the past. I won't do it anymore because I don't agree with where the company stands right now and the whole Robotech thing. It just puts a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't want to support a company that treats its customers that way. I think that's very, very bad business, and it's horrible. So make your own informed decision. What I'm saying is, if you like Palladium Fantasy, continue buying the books. That's up to you. You can buy them wherever you want. I personally won't buy anything from Palladium Books itself. I will go through either my local game store, or I will go through Amazon, where I get a decent discount. But that's me. So that being said, I wanted to today go over another Palladium game, Rifts. This is the Game Master's Guide. I don't know where my core book is. I believe it's in one of these boxes still, because I don't have room for. I got a lot of books. Rifts, gonzo, over the top, awesome stuff. I won't buy any more Rifts books. I've already stated why I won't. I've told you my reasoning. But will I still play Rifts? Yes. Will I play Palladium Rifts? No. I won't even GM this. This is a horrible, horrible game to GM. It's a horrible game to play in. Reason being is there are so many books, there are so many options, and the rules are just outdated. The rules are pretty much the same for fantasy, but they work in a fantasy setting. But in a sci-fi setting, trans-dimensional space setting, superpowers, it's horrible. So that being said, I would recommend everybody should have a copy of Rifts in their library. It's a good resource material. It's for its time, it was a decent book that was written, and it's got a lot of cool art in it. It's a great source material. I don't know any gamer that doesn't have at least one Rifts source book. If they've been doing this for as long as I have, they have at least one. They may never use it, but they have one. So Rifts Palladium is a no-go. Buy it if you want to add it to your collection, because it is a mainstay. It's been on the market for 20 plus years. It's been around. It's not going anywhere. But if I had to do it all over again with the material that is out right now, I would have never bought this, because it's a kludgy, clunky, unwieldy system, and there's just so much material out there that a GM cannot prep properly for everything the players are going to throw at him. And by that I mean, you can have superheroes, you can have noir detectives, you can have dinosaur riding cowboys, and you can have, aliens that can shoot laser beams out of their eyes. I mean, everything. The kitchen sink is the limit. So if you're going to run Palladium Rifts as a GM, you need to set boundaries. You need to say, we're using the core rule book and we're using the Japan source book, and that's it. Or maybe the Naruni store, or whatever. Set your limitations. It'll make your life much easier. But I would say, screw all that. Don't run Palladium Rifts. Run Savage Worlds Rifts. I did a Kickstarter unboxing of this. I backed it, and I got all the hard books. They're available out in softback now, but I got all the hardbacks. I even got... if I remember correctly, I got Shane Hensley to sign my copy at Chupacabra or OwlCon 2017. OwlCon up there in Rice University in Texas, just outside of Houston. Awesome convention, by the way. Very small convention held on the Rice University campus. Very well done, and if you're an old fat gamer like me, you'll get a little bit of exercise, because you got to walk all over the place, which is great. And it's a beautiful campus. I highly recommend, if you get a chance to go to OwlCon, go check it out. It's a lot of fun, and I've always had a good time there. I've been there 2 years. I wasn't able to go back. If I ever get a chance to go back, I will, because it's a fun time. It's a good time. But anyway, this is what I would run. This is Savage Worlds, the Tomorrow Legion's Player's Guide. There's also the Game Master's Guide, and there's the Threats book, the Coalition Guide. And it's got some monsters and some DBs, and of course a lot of Coalition stuff in there. So those are the 3 books you get that you'll need. You don't, if you're a player, you just need this, which is great. They're currently, Pinnacle is going, I believe, towards the end of this month, the 19th, I believe. They're doing a Kickstarter for the next 3 books. Kind of goes into my rant that I talked about last Wednesday with James. I don't think Pinnacle should go to Kickstarter. I really think it's unfair to the Kickstarter community. I think they could put these books out. They're a big enough company. Studio 2 Publishing handles all of their publishing and printing and outsourcing. There's no reason for them to go to Kickstarter. To me, it's lazy. I love Pinnacle. Sean Patrick Fannin is one of my idols. You know, he works in conjunction with Pinnacle. He owns Evil Beagle Games. And they've done their homage to, you know, G.I. Joe, Freedom Legion. You know, they've got another Kickstarter out now for Powers and Paragons, I believe, that he's working with, and that's awesome. Of course, he did my beloved Shintar, which is one of my all-time favorite fantasy settings. And Pinnacle, you know, Shane Hensley and those guys are all awesome. Clint and Jody Black, phenomenal, super nice people. I've met them many times at conventions. Hopefully they remember me. I don't know. Mr. Mean's kind of hard to forget, but you know, that be that as it may. This is quintessentially, if you like Savage Worlds, or if you've never played Savage Worlds, this is a great way to dive into it. And it's just a better rule system. It's a lot clearer, a lot more concise, and there's not 144 books or whatever it is currently for Rifts right now that you would need to buy. I'm a completionist. I want to have all the books and everything, and I don't have the money. B, I don't have the room. So this is great. I'm very excited about the Kickstarter. Am I going to back it? No, I'm not. I'm currently unemployed, don't have the money to back it. I mean, that could change in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully it does. But even still, I probably won't back it. I feel they're doing a disservice by doing it as a Kickstarter. And I know, you know, you get all the stretch goals and everything. They don't need to raise the money that way. Pinnacle has been around, you know, for over 10 years. I think nigh going on 20 years. And I don't think they need to go to Kickstarter to produce. I think there's enough fans. I think, if anything, don't go to Kickstarter. Do what Kevin's doing. Do what Palladium Books is doing. Put it as a crowdsource on your website. First of all, you don't have to give Kickstarter 7% of your money. Pinnacle already has a web developer. They always have a studio that handles their web design. Easy enough to put a page up there, call up your web developer and say, hey, I'm sending you the graphics from my art people. Make me a web page. Send me what you got. Let's review it. You know, they're a big enough company that can do that. And I still know that they're a small press company, but they make a lot of money in selling their books. And I don't think they need to go to Kickstarter. I think they're taking money away from the small press guys. There's a point, I think, when you become big enough, you don't need to be on Kickstarter anymore. You're actually doing a disservice. Now, that being said, this funded on time. Everybody got their product well within the time that they said they were going to deliver, and we got everything they promised. And as far as I know, I didn't hear any horror stories. I got my box. It was in great condition. Excuse me. I got everything that they promised, and I love it. I'm completely happy with it. That being said, like I said, I'm not going to back the second Kickstarter. I'll wait for the books, because here's the thing. Pinnacle, you can always go on their website and you can always order a bundle for whatever product line they have. Solomon Kane, Lankmar, Rifts, they got these bundles on their website right now. Last Parsec, you know, you can go on their website and you can go to pinnacle.com, pinnaclegames.com or pinnacle.com, and you can order a bundle and you can get all three of these books. You can get the character folios or whatever, the bennies. You can order them all. So I don't know what the bang for the buck. I think the only difference was price-wise is I got mine as hardback, whereas if you go buy them in the bundle right now, I think they're only softback, but probably can get them hardback. I'm not sure. I did not check. I was a bad meanie. I didn't go check. But yeah. This is the way to go. If you want to run Rifts and you don't want all the bloat, or you don't want to support Palladium Games because you feel like I do, you feel they did their fan base wrong with the whole Robotech Kickstarter, and I'm just tired of every time I go to their forums, they're begging for money, that this is a problem. I'm selling my personal collection of toys and limited edition. He's been selling that shit for over 10 years. How much of a collection do you have that you can sell it over 10 years? That's kind of ridiculous, which tells me that it's not a limited edition collection. You got a bunch of warehouse full of shit that you're just trying to sell and play on people's sympathy. But I don't want to rant about that. Needless to say that I'm not a fan of Palladium's structure as it stands right now, and their mechanics is an understatement. This is what I would play. If I was going to play, if someone said, hey, John, run Rifts for me, I would immediately go. I wouldn't go to the Rifts book. I would go to the Palladium Rifts. The fact that Kevin, opened up his asshole straps, I don't know what to call it, and let Pinnacle do this is amazing. And kudos to him in that regards. Kudos to Sean Patrick. I actually talked to Sean at ChupacabraCon a couple years ago, and I said I played in his Tomorrow Legion primer while the Kickstarter was going on. And I pulled him aside and I just said, hey, Sean, how did you get Kevin to acquiesce? Because, the stories are legendary about what a hard ass he is with his IP, and, the letters and emails that he would send out to websites, saying cease and desist. It's legendary. And he goes, it was really easy. I showed him how Savage Worlds worked. I told him what our plan was and that we had everything pretty much in place, and we just wanted his blessing to do it. And he said, okay. Now, I'm sure Palladium's is getting a nice cut of everything they sell. I'm curious, though, with the new Kickstarter, how many lost sales they're going to have for people like me who are still pissed off about the Robotech Kickstarter and just won't give them any money. Because whether you want to acknowledge it or not, everything has to be approved, because this is a licensed product from Palladium Games. Kevin has to sign off on everything they've done. And the fact that they're going to Kickstarter here in a couple of days tells me that all that process has been done. Kevin has already looked at all the manuscripts, has already signed off on anything, said, no, you got to change this, and they've changed it. It's gone back and forth. So this has probably been going on for since this came out. A year ago, 2 years ago? When did this come out? I don't even remember. I got to put my glasses on because I'm blind. Let's see if there's a date in here. 2016. So this was printed in 2016. I think that's when the Kickstarter was. So 17, 18, and now we're in 19. So almost 2.5 years, we'll say. 2 years solid. And I'll bet you they were, right after this funded and everything went hotcakes, they started working on the new books. I'm almost guarantee it. So this has been going for quite a while. Kevin's getting a cut of this. If you think he's not, you're crazy. And I'm, to be honest, I'm okay with that, because it's a great IP. Rifts is an amazing setting. I love it to death. I just won't support Palladium Games. Not anymore. Will I still buy their books? Probably, but I won't buy them directly from Palladium Books. I'll buy them from a tertiary source, and those people will get the money. Now, granted, they've probably already paid their money to either a distributor, which a kickback goes back to Palladium, but it's minimal at that point. I'm not going to buy it directly from Palladium where they get the full $29.95 for whatever book, or $24.95. That being said, I'm curious to see how. I'm sure the Kickstarter is going to fund in literally minutes. I have no doubt about that. And to be honest, if I wasn't rubbed the wrong way so bad by the Kickstarter for Robotech and how Palladium Books handled it, I would back this. I really would, because I want the books, and I'm going to get the books. I'm just not going to get the Kickstarter books. I'll get the bundle when they put it on their website, and I'll order it that way. I'll order it directly from Pinnacle. I won't support the Kickstarter. I'm not against Kickstarter. I'm against large companies or well-to-do companies using Kickstarter as a pre-order system. James said it perfectly in our rant last Wednesday. They're using this as a pre-order. They've already got the money. They've got the product. It's all made. They don't need your money to make this. They need your money to figure out how many pre-orders they need. And in a way, I get that. It's good business sense, because then they don't print too many books, or they don't print too few books, and they don't lose money either way. And I get that, and it makes total sense from a business standpoint, but I think it's hurting the industry more than it's helping. So I really wish Pinnacle all the best. I hope their Kickstarter does great for them. I'm not going to back it. And trust me, I want the new books so bad I can taste them. But I'll wait and order them directly from Pinnacle. I'd rather the money go to Pinnacle that way than a Kickstarter coming up that I really, it grabs me and I'm really excited about it and I want to throw money at it, and then I go, oh, but I spent my allotment of, I spent my budget on Kickstarter for Pinnacle, when Pinnacle doesn't need the money. They can produce this book, they can get it to market without going through Kickstarter. And I just think that's unfair to the other smaller press companies that really deserve our money. They don't have line editors. They don't have a warehouse. These guys are producing this game on their personal computer and, getting their friends to edit it and, doing the best they can. And that's a lot of kudos and a lot of hard work. If it's your 9-to-5 job, you don't need Kickstarter to make it happen. I'm sorry. I love Pinnacle. I support them 100%, but they don't need Kickstarter to make the next set of Rifts books. They just don't. They can produce those books and get them to market without the help of Kickstarter. They're using Kickstarter as a pre-order system, and they could do that on their website and take Kickstarter. And I think they'd be better served. Kickstarter takes 7%. That's a good chunk of money. Kickstarter takes 7% right off the top. Doesn't matter if your book funds, for $5,000 or $500,000. Kickstarter's taking 7% of it right off the bat. So why lose 7% of your funds when you could do it on your website and host it and I'll keep all the money yourself, aside from what you're paying your web guy and your hosting fees, which you're already paying every month because you're keeping those guys employed. So I wanted to rant a little bit about it. We're coming up on 30 minutes. So Savage Rifts, it's available on Pinnacle's website. I'll put a link in the notes down below directly to the Rifts page. Their Kickstarter's coming up. I believe it's March 19th, or April. We're in April. April 19th. Oh, today's tax day. Oh my God, I hope everybody got their taxes done. Mine are all done. Thanks to my lovely wife. She's got the brain for that. I don't. So, yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think. If you haven't tried Palladium or Savage Rifts, jump on Fantasy Ground, play a game, go to your local game store, or check with your GM, see if it's something he's willing to run. Hell, do your GM a favor and buy the three core books and give it to him. Or buy the 2 core books for the GM and you keep the player's guide and maybe have your GM run it. I mean, they're $30. Yeah, right. $30 for this book. Yeah, $30 for this, and then $24.95 for the other 2 books. So, I mean, you're still looking at almost 70 something bucks, $75 or so. But it's a worthwhile color. There's part of the Kickstarter reward was these little character folios. Full color glossy paper, really well done. Awesome bookmarks. That's not one of them. They sent us really cool bookmarks and everything. So for the Kickstarter, but order it, check it out. Let me know how you like it. I think it should be in your collection. It's well worth the money. It's a good read. Is it as in depth as the Palladium versions? No, because they couldn't do it. The book would be that thick. Look at the main Rifts book; it's huge. But it's a better rule system. It stands up better. It plays better. It plays faster. Remember, fast, furious, and fun. FFF. That's the hallmark of Savage Worlds. And now with the new Suede, and I forgot to mention that, the new Suede rules, the Savage Worlds Adventure, I don't know what the D stand. Adventure, I think, is AD, Explorer or whatever. The new Suede rules, which update the new Savage Worlds rules to the current version, will be used in the next 3 books for the Kickstarter. I understand they're also going to do a conversion document to update these 3 books as well. They're not going to put out new PDFs, from what I understand. I could be wrong. If you've heard differently, please post in the show notes and let me know. Either way, it'll be interesting. I would like to see, though, if they do a conversion to Suede, that all the previous Kickstarter backers get copies of those PDFs. I don't want the books, because I get that cost a lot of money, But if they've produced PDFs with the new Suede rules, it would be nice to send those to us, to the backers of the first Kickstarter. I think that would be very cool. And hopefully they'll do that. I don't know if they will or they won't. I don't even own Suede yet. I didn't jump on the Kickstarter because, again, I don't think it was fair that Pinnacle went to Kickstarter for that. I don't think they needed to do that. I think their fan base is large enough that they could have easily crowdfunding it off of their own website and made more than enough money to do it. So I know why they went to Kickstarter. It's better exposure and everything like that, but it's easy enough. YouTube, Twitch, there's talk to your people like me and get the word out there. Would have been easy to do. It's an email. Send an email. Hey, we're putting a new production. Would you mind giving? We'll give you $10 credit in our store. The money they would have spent doing that versus what they have to pay Kickstarter, I'm sure they still would have came out ahead. Anyway, that's the first part of this rant. Savage Worlds Rifts. Buy it. Play it. It's fun. It's fast. It's furious. Kickstarter's coming April 19th. I'm not going to back it. You spend your dollars how you like. If you like what Mr. Mean says and you agree with me, let me know down in the show notes. I'm not saying I'm not going to buy the next 3 books in the Kickstarter. I'm just going to buy them directly from Pinnacle on their website after the Kickstarter is over. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about there. The last part of this video is going to be a slight apology. I got my start on my own. I was unemployed. I got laid off in Sulphur, Louisiana, working for the oil refineries, and I was going stir crazy. I just couldn't find work. I was even trying to do temp work. There was just no work. It was horrible. And I had to find something to do with my time. And I was like, my wife was like, you've got so many books. Do you even read all those books? Do you even know what's in those books? And because, if you go back and you watch my early DCC, I think it was my very first video, you'll see there was just books everywhere. And my wife it kind of made me dawn, that and the conjunction of, I was looking up some obscure, I think I was looking up Guardians RPG, because I was going to do a local gaming day at the Paper Heroes there in Lake Charles, which is the local game store. And every month they have an open RPG day where they invite GMs to come in and run games. And so I was doing some research, and I was going to run Guardians, which is a superhero RPG. I have a review of it in the archive. Go check it out. But I was looking for information on Guardians to see if anything new had happened or whatever. And I was doing a Google search and a YouTube search, and I couldn't find any videos on Guardians. And I thought, and it literally had just had that conversation with my wife about, do you even know what's in these books? And it just kind of trickled, and I went, well, why don't I do a YouTube channel? I have a camera. I have a laptop that's pretty powerful. So I did. And, I got a couple people liked it. God, I've been doing this for over 2 years now, and I only have 477 subscribers. It's not like my content's flying off the shelf here. I'm a very small YouTube channel, and hardly anybody knows about me. But that being said, it really, I just had a blast. My enthusiasm, I think, is just as strong today as it was on that very first video over 2 years ago. And I think I have like 170 plus videos up, 170 videos of 99% RPG content, which I think is pretty cool. But I had noticed, I did a little more Google searching, and I realized that nobody was doing reviews of these small press indie RPGs. And I know all of my gamer friends have libraries, maybe not as big as mine, but really close. I think the only other person that comes close to the size of my collection is my good friend Brian. He has quite a library, but Brian is well-to-do and has been gainfully employed for years. A nice college degree. He's a great guy. He's like a brother to me. I love him to death, and I'm envious of his success. I'm not aggravated by it or not mad at him, and I wish him all the best in the world and everything, all the good fortunes that can come to him. And my friend Angelo as well has a pretty decent library. But those are the only people I know that have a collection. And like I said, I have 10 more boxes, moving boxes full of books that I don't have room for. This bottom shelf down here, this shelf right there is full of books on the bottom. That's a bunch of RPG stuff and tabletop game stuff. And as you can see, there's a bunch of stuff there. And of course, I got the Rifts box in the background just to emphasize what I was talking about earlier. But I wouldn't have as many subscribers right now as I do if it wasn't for the guys over at Nerds International. And in a lot of my earlier videos, I would have a little preamble that would come up, a little preface, and it would say, Nerds International, nerds! And I got away from doing that only because I'm using this OBS and I don't know how to import that, to be honest. Then I started doing YouTube Live, and so I couldn't import that either. And there are a number of software suites out there that you can buy, but I don't have the money. For the last 2 years, it has been a struggle just to keep food on the table. I'm 51 years old. I'll be 52 in June. I gotta say, I'm pretty spry. I'm in pretty good shape. I've been losing weight. My health is great. It's just hard to find a job. I don't have a college degree. I went through the school of hard knocks, and I'm not bemoaning my situation or anything like that. I think I've made the best life choices I could make at the time when I made them. Of course, hindsight being 2020, if I could go back and do it all over again, oh my God, I would have never married my ex-wife, but I would have never had my wonderful son, Jonathan. I love him to death. He's doing good. He is 20 years old. I have a new son, 2 years old. He's amazing. So we make our choices and we live with them. So I got to take the good with the bad. The good is I have two beautiful sons that I love dearly, and I'm very proud of both of them. My 20-year-old is growing up to be a hell of a young man, and he's going to college, and hopefully he's making right decisions and doing well. And my youngest son is 2 years old, and he's just a treasure. He's a joy. But I wouldn't be here on this channel with the amount of subscribers I have if it wasn't for Nerds International, for Jamie and Jamie's the only name that comes to mind. Stefan, Dragon Spawn, wonderful people. I've done some live plays with them on YouTube, on their channels. Murder Hobo, you sick bastard, I love you to death. I know he's had a podcast for a while, but he's actually doing a podcast for Rifts, Savage Worlds Rifts, and I highly recommend you check it out. Nerds International is also on MeWe. With the closing of G+, we had to move over to another platform, and we all moved over to MeWe. So you can get to their channel, their MeWe page from my page. If you have me as a contact, or you're following me on MeWe, you can get to Nerds International page from my post. Just do a check there. So I wanted to give a huge shout out, even though I'm not doing the video intros and everything, just because I don't know how and I haven't had the time. Unfortunately, being unemployed is a lot of work. Here in Minnesota, in order to receive state assistance, I have to put in 35 hours a week of job searching, and I have to account for it. There's a form I have to fill out, and I have to account, and they, believe me, they check, because they're giving me, it's not even enough money. I can't even make my car payment and my insurance payment with the amount of money that they give me, but it's some pocket money that I can put gas in my car, and I can go to an interview, and I can print some resumes, and the Veterans Administration here has been phenomenal. They've helped me out a lot. They got me into this place. So much love and support to MacV and the Veterans Administration here, as well as the Duluth Workforce. I'm working in conjunction with them. I've gone on interviews. I'm doing everything I can to find a job and better my situation. My wife has some medical issues that we're dealing with. It's been ongoing for years, and it's finally come to a head. So she had to quit her job, and so we're struggling. But who isn't? I mean, so when you guys send me that $10, $20, $5 donation, please understand and believe me that it means a lot. It goes a long way. It may only be $5, $10, $20, $100 to you, but to me, it's food on my table, literally food on my table. So, and the guys over at Nerds International have promoted my channel. They've brought me subscribers. I'd like to think I've brought a couple to them. It's all RPG content of some kind. Murder Hobo does his podcast. You can pick it up off of, I'm using Podbean, but there's many iTunes. There's tons of different ways to get that content. But go check out the Murder Hobo show. Jamie Pearson runs a number of games. He has a channel. Steven runs some games. Eric Lamino, my Canadian brother, America Light, I pick on him. Those guys up in Canada, you know, I pick on them. Eric and Jamie. I think Eric's in Pennsylvania now, but I'm not sure if he's Canadian. I know Steven is, and I pick on Steven quite a lot. I love those guys dearly. I'm hoping that once I get back to work, I can make it to the convention that they all go to, and we can just have an awesome time. They are some wonderful human beings. All of them would give you the shirt off their back to help you if they could. And they're all, you know, struggling to make content and work 40-hour plus jobs. So it's really awesome. And like I said, they put out amazing content, and go check them out. Nerds International. I'll put a link to the MeWe page if I can. If not, MeWe's kind of weird on how it does its links. But I'll actually include it in the links. There's all the links to all the shows in the YouTube when I post this. I have to get ready to go pick up my wife and eat some lunch. But to all 477 subscribers to the Mr. Mean channel, thank you guys. Your support means a lot. It keeps my spirits up. Being a veteran, being unemployed, a wife with a very serious medical condition, it's a lot of stress, you know, and on top of that, raising a 2-year-old, just to add to that. Everybody's life is hard. You know, I'm not asking for handouts. I do the content. If you enjoy the content, I ask for a donation to help keep the content going. When I'm working and I'm making income, that donations go into the channel to buy. I used some of that money to buy my Blue Snowball microphone. I used some of that money to buy my 1080p camera from Logitech. I used some of that money to buy games, to do reviews, because I like the indie press. I like the little known games. So thanks for your continual support. Thanks to Nerds International for their support. A huge shout out. I've been remiss in my duties as a nerd and as a member of Nerds International Broadcasting Network to support my fellow brothers and sisters. And I wanted to deeply apologize. Jamie brought it to my attention, and it's just something that I overlooked. It's not that I don't like those guys and I didn't want to support them. It's just literally I'm caught up in my own little world, and I'm literally, you know, day to day trying to stretch a dime into a dollar. I'm sure we all know how that goes. You know, I'm trying to keep a roof over my kid's head. I don't want to raise my kid out of a car. I'm trying to keep my car payment going so that if push comes to shove, I got a car to sleep in if you know, worse comes to shove. So, and I would hate to lose my place, because I would lose all of this stuff, and it's only material things, and most of it can be replaced, but God, I would hate to have to lose it. So your continual support means, you don't even know how much it means to me. And when you post those comments of, you know, thanks, Mr. Mean, you know, your video, you know, I like that, or, you know, I bought this book because you recommended it. I can't even tell you how much that means to me. And if you do go and buy a book, like Mr. Bernstein's, you know, Blood Shadows 2.0 or 3.3rd edition, you know, they usually have a little comment in there. Hey, Mr. Mean sent me. I watched Mr. Mean's review of your game, and I bought it. It means a lot to the publishers, because sometimes those guys, like the guys over at Politically Incorrect Games, sent me a bunch of PDFs, you know, just on a whim. They saw my first video for Hard Nova. I didn't even know there was a Hard Nova 2nd edition out. So they sent me PDFs, and that was super awesome of them. And a couple people posted in the show notes and stuff and said, hey, I went and bought Blood Shadows. One of the guys was over in Europe and saw that they had a European store, and so he was able to buy everything and get free shipping. And so he actually told the owner of the company that, you know, he came through from my video. So that's awesome, and it means a lot. And then, you know, any feedback that I get, I take wholeheartedly. You know, constructive criticisms, that's the joy of YouTube. I'm not for everybody, and I know that. You know, some people don't like my rambling. Some people don't care about the status of my family and my job search and everything like that, and they just want to know about the game, and they leave negative comments. And most of those comments I do post. You know, you should see the good with the bad, I think. If their comments are really down and depressing and negative, like one guy's comment I deleted because I had a cold, and I apologized at the beginning of the video. Hey, I wanted to get some content out. I'm recovering, and I kept coughing and hacking. I think I might have even blown my nose, but I kind of turned my head. And you know, that's unprofessional in a way, but then again, this is an unprofessional channel. I'm not paid full-time salary to do this channel. So, but this person left some really harsh comments, and so I deleted his comment. And, you know, I did reply back to that person and say, and I don't know if it's a male or a female. I assume it was a guy just by the structure of the tone in which they wrote the email, but it could have been a female. But you know, I said, you know, that's the joy. My reply back to this person was, that's the joy of the internet and YouTube. You never have to watch another one of my videos ever again. If you click those 3 little dots on YouTube and you say not interested, another window pops up and says why, and you can say offensive, and you'll never see another one of my posts ever again in your YouTube feed. So I think in that aspect, there's no need to post cruelty, you know. And oh, by the way, I went and checked that person's YouTube channel, and they had no content whatsoever. They'd been a member of YouTube for 4 years and had no content. So first of all, it takes a lot of cojones to get behind a camera and put yourself out there for other people to critique and make fun of you and all kinds of things, you know. But for the most part, on the meanies, as I like to call my followers, have been amazing, and the non-meanies have been polite too. I get a number of messages from people who aren't subscribed. They've just watched my video, they liked the content, and they posted a comment, or they've corrected me. I love corrections because I don't know everything, and I got so many games swimming around in my head that I get a lot of the rules confused. And a lot of times I'll even go back and I'll read a couple pages just to remember, and I still get stuff wrong. So I'm not a professional. I'm not a game designer. I'm just an avid fan just like you. And I'm just doing this to maybe give you a little glimpse of the system or the book, and let you know from someone who's bought many thousands of dollars of RPG games, maybe give you a little insight on whether or not you should buy this game or maybe pass it up. I've done very few negative. I think out of 170 plus videos, I think I have 2 negative reviews of games. That's it. Every game I think has some sort of redeeming quality. Some don't, and there was one that didn't, and I blasted it. So anyway, a big shout out to my Nerds International brothers and sisters. I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the support, and thank you to all my fans and my followers, my subscribers, my soon-to-be subscribers. You guys are awesome, and as always, keep up the support. Peace, hair, and grease. Peace, hair, and happiness. And remember, Mr. Mean says, be nice.